Hello, my name is Charles McCain. I'm the author of a novel called An Honorable German, a World War II epic written from the point of view of a heroic yet deeply conflicted German U-boat commander. During my almost 25 years of research on this novel, I read a couple thousand books or something on German military, the Third Reich, German history, and I thought that maybe reviewing a lot of these books would save you some time if you're interested in this period of history, you know, and sort of maybe separate the wheat from the chaff, if that makes any sense. That I would, you know, just sort of offer up my thoughts on these different books because I can sort of put them in context. I've read so many of them. The one I'm going to review right now is called the FW-200 Condor, the airliner that went to war. And you go, wow, that sounds really exciting. But this was the Focke-Wulf FW-200. It was a four-engine plane and had tremendous range. And you know, you're sort of like, well, why would I read about one plane over another? The Germans had a lot of kind of planes. Well, in order to understand their strategy, I mean, their tactics, you have to have some idea of the equipment they had. But you don't have to read about every single thing, every single plane. I mean, you just don't. But this is the one. This is one you might want to read about, and the reason is this is the plane. When people talk about if Hitler escaped, and I certainly do not think he did, but if Hitler escaped from the bunker, then he would have escaped on one of the Condors. His personal pilot had 5 of them at the ready at Tempelhof Airport. Witnesses say, well, they were blown up. I've never read who those witnesses were. I mean, it gets very hazy about what happened to them. No Condors survived, but they were used first as you know, airliners. Then they were just repainted in military colors. But they could go for such a long distance. They could stay in the air, and they would go about 250 miles an hour or kilometers an hour, and they could stay in the air for 18 to 20 hours. That's a long time. I mean, they had enough time that they would fly from their base in Norway all the way to Greenland, where the Germans had a manned weather station with live people manning it, which must have been the most miserable assignment in the war. And they would fly all the way from Norway all the way to this secret German weather station in Greenland and drop supplies and fly all the way back. And they did this 28 times during the war. The Condor had kind of a strange tendency to crash into things, and a lot of them crashed. Nobody's sure why, and so it kind of makes you kind of go, well, I'm sure glad I didn't ride in one of those things because navigation was difficult. 2 or 3 of them crashed in Ireland, and they interned the crew. Some of them crashed in Spain, and they should have interned the crew, but they gave them back to the Germans. So it is a fascinating aircraft, not because I'm not like an aircraft historian or anything like that, but it gives you a sense of what the capabilities of the German Air Force were, whether they were squandered or misused. That's something that, in order to decide that for yourself, you need to have some idea of the major pieces of equipment. And because the Condor is one of the most significant airplanes the Luftwaffe had, it's kind of important to understand what it was capable of, so you can see, you know, why they did certain things and why they couldn't do certain things. And you can see why people speculate that Hitler, if he escaped on a Condor, because it could have flown all the way to South America from Germany. So anyway, this book, FW-200 Condor, I give, 4 stars. It's not perfect, but there are reasons to read it, which I've enumerated. So if you have an interest in that, then give it a read. My name is Charles McCain.